34. Can't believe I'm saying that. Today we are doing about Tai Chi in the garden. And today was a beautiful day here in Cape Breton. And so we were out trimming and pruning and cleaning up. And I was in with the tulips. We have pansies finally blooming. The crocuses are in full bloom and the daffodils are working their way up. So as I was doing that and as I was bending into the garden and cutting and pulling and doing all those kinds of things, I was reflecting on how Tai Chi really supports everything that I'm doing and where it shows up. So I thought I'd start talking about some of those things today. So to get started, let's continue with what we were doing yesterday. Hello everyone that's coming in. All right, we're doing Tai Chi in the garden today. But for our warm-up, while we're waiting for everybody else to get here, let's do part 2 of the Tai Chi set. So we have a flow that we can work with. And yesterday we explored some crazy turns in low cup. And so I'll try to review that a little bit today. And hopefully if you played with that yesterday, then you have a chance to develop it a little bit further. But then I'm going to just bring some of the concepts about some of the pieces in there back to the garden. Okay, so part 2 of the Tai Chi set. So let's start with the bow. And ladies are holding on to the left thumb, gentlemen hold on to the right. Thank you for that heart, I saw it. All right, we're going down and coming back up. And then let that go and sink. All right, now nice big breath in, commencement. And let that go. And then we're going to cross the hands because we're going to do part 2. Okay, so we're going to open the hands. It's going to be sink back towards the tailbone. And then we're going to come around, brush knee right. That was carry tiger to the mountain. Bow and arrow back. Palm to palm is coming forward. Opening the hands. And then 2 hands are going to go forward. And then that comes back around, whip to one side. So the fingertips face each other. We come through and out. Sorry, I can hear creak, creak, creak. We just come around. That should have been whip out diagonal instead of whip out to the side. So can we start again? Let's rewind. Okay, carry tiger to the mountain. And brush knee. Again, I was pre-thinking. One thing to lead, another to do, and to do the seated form. All right, no excuses for what I'm up to, but here we go. This is what I missed. Instead of whip to one side, it's whip out diagonal. So this comes up, and then spiral, and then this goes out. There we go. Okay, fist goes underneath the elbow. So the palm comes towards you, palm goes away, and then there's a sink and then a lift. And that's going to come through, and your tailbone, you're going straight back, up, spine rotation, straight back. So you're just opening up the spine. Comes up, straight back. Open the hands. This would come around. Reaching up. Comes up. This is the right hand up. Step up to raise hands into white stork spreads wings. Up to the top. Lift right up through the spine. That's going to come around. And then we've got brush knee left. Half a step. This is going to go push needle to sea bottom. Palms come towards the right side and then expand out. Left hand to the top. This is going to be chop. Wipe the sleeve. Hold the flowers. Deflect, parry, and punch. Hold the ball. Grasp bird's tail. I'm going to go at the wrist today. Palm motion, palm to palm, open opening the hands. Two hands are going to go out. Okay, here's that whip to one side that I did at the beginning. That's where I got stuck. Okay, move like clouds. Oh, I saw it stuttered there for a moment. Move hands like clouds. Coming through. I know there's been trouble with the cameras and stuttering for the BC people, so hopefully it's clear today. It's Saturday. Hopefully no one else is on the computers as much. Okay, here we go. We go whip. This is going to come back to the hip, across, and reach out. High pat on horse. Right hand's going to come up to the top. You're just going to suspend at the top. Hands come down and reach out. Look at that. You've got both cats at once. Crossing. Okay. And then this would be a kick. Then we're going to go down. Cross. This would be kick. And this would wrap around. Another kick. And then we have brush knee. Brush knee. Wrong hand, brush knee. Here we go, low punch. That was an extra. Low punch. Turns. Chop. Wipe the sleeve, hold the flowers. Deflect parry. And punch. This, where I got stuck yesterday, this would have been a kick. Hold the flowers up to the right. Strike the tiger on the left. Hold the flowers out to the left. Strike the tiger on the right. This would come back. This would be a kick. Cross the hands. Fold them in. Bring that all the way around. Two-handed strike. Lift up through the spine. Crossing the hands, this would be a kick to the side with the left, and then you would have turned all the way around, kick with the right, hold the flowers, in, out, wipe the sleeve, and out. Wipe the sleeve again, two hands, up to the top, open, and cross. So there's part two. And let that go. Easy. Easy to make a few mistakes in there because you're going back and forth. And you're not doing all those kicks and turns. So the second part is a little bit challenging. Okay, so we have both cats coming back and forth today. They've decided that this is the place to be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do part two standing now. Because some of the comments that have come back was just about knowing where the feet were supposed to go if it's been a while since you've done your standing form. So if you're doing seated, stay seated. And I'll be calling, so you'll know where you're going. And if you're standing, I'm going to face you, and carry tiger to the mountain is going to turn to your right. So you're going to sink back onto that right leg, turning the left foot. Step your right foot to the corner. You've got a brush knee right. Bow and arrow is going to come back. Palm to palm goes forward. Open the hands. Two hands are going to go forward. And this is whip out diagonal. So the toe comes around to 45. Make a T with your hands. Sink. Step over towards the left side. That's going to spiral. Step into the left front corner. Reach out with your right hand. Turn to your left side and your left hand comes up. Fist goes underneath the elbow. Open the hand. Step patois with the left. Take the tailbone straight back. Step back with the right. Through. Open. Step back with the left. Through. Open. Step back with the right. That's going to come around. Hold the ball. And then step out. and forward. Step up to raise hands. Right heel is going to go out. Put down the foot, and then you're going to come through, pushing out. This goes up to the top. Let that go. Brush knee. Half a step. Push the needle to C-bottom, so your right leg will be straight. Not locked, but straight. It's going to come up and out. Turn. Fan penetrates back. Sink on that left foot. Chop. Wipe the sleeve. Crack, crack, crack through the knees. Here we go. Left parry and punch. Twist step. Hold the ball. This is Grassbird's tail. Bow and arrow is going to come back and out. Open the hands. Two hands go out flat. That's going to sink back. Turn your right toe. Spiral on the left toe. And come out. Okay, just hold on, let me get out of the way. Okay, now that I come around with all the cats, where we were going, cat. Move hands. So you can't see Hunter's lying on the floor right at my feet, just outside of the camera range. And he keeps looking to see what I'm up to. Comes across. Okay, let's do a whip here. Or I'm into the table, whip to one side. Okay, so now we have high pat on horse. So you go back into the right. Hand is going to come up. Sink back into the right. Step over towards your left back corner. Reach out. Cross the hands. This is a toe kick. Goes out. Step. Reach out with the hands. Cross. This is a toe kick to the back left. Step back. Turn. Heel kick. And then you have a brush knee left. Twist step. So when I'm seated, I always can get confused. Which one should I put there? Twist step, and this is a low punch. So your right hand comes past your hip, forward. Left hand goes high. Turn the left foot. Chop. That goes out. Wipe the sleeve. Hold the flowers. Step through. Deflect, parry. Punch, twist step, heel kick your right foot, and hold the flowers up while you're looking to the back. Step with the left foot, strike the tiger on the left side, hold the flowers, turn, step, strike the tiger on the right side. That's going to sink back, heel kick your right foot, crossing the hands. Both hands are going to come around, strike the tiger on both ears, and then you're going to kick to the left. Kick, pigeon toe, hakwa, pigeon toe, heel kick, hold the flowers, in, out, wipe the sleeve, step through and punch, wipes, two hands, and then comes back around. Toe, heel, sink. Crossing over, and let that go. Okay. There's all the way through part 2. I'm not sure. I heard bells going, so Missy's in the basket on the other side of the door, which you can't see. And it's the Easter basket I used last week. So she's jumped inside of there, and Hunter was trying to get through the doorway because he could see her and he could hear the bell dingling. Anyway, so that's what was happening here with Hunter trying to get through that door. All right, so let's talk about the garden. So first thing you're going to have to do is weed. right? So the first thing you're going to be doing is Danyus, down into the ground. So one of the things I noticed when I started off was just being able to relax. And of course, you're going to have one hand that's going to be reaching out to do a lot of the things. So when you're reaching out with that one hand, using a whole body movement to get there. So how do we develop that? We develop it from here, doing our seated to standing Danyu. So let's do that. So you can now think in terms of not coming up so much, but about the going down part, which is what you need in the garden. So planting the feet shoulder width apart, always wearing a good pair of shoes in the garden. Some of us put on old shoes, right? Because you're going to get them in the dirt. A good pair of shoes. Make sure that you're going to be flat and secure, not in flip-flops or something that could slide. That happens sometimes. Make sure you choose a good pair of gardening shoes. Okay, so we have Danyu goes, push into the feet to come back. Then you're going to slide out, you're going to balance on your feet and come back. And then up and out, and then sink. Okay, so now I remember what I said. We're thinking about the down part today because that's what you're doing when you do the gardening. What I noticed was my knees were not quite ready for me to do that. They didn't really want to bend. They were having a little groaning. And my thighs didn't feel like they were completely connected to do the power action that I needed. So what do we know? We know we could trace meridians and that would fire the muscles up. So just changing central and governing. Those are the first two. Let's try that. So you have up the front, down the middle, up the tailbone, over the top of the head, to the top lip. And if you wish to put in an affirmation, I easily and joyfully do the gardening. Comes back down, up the front. And you may say, well, I do that all the time. I love being out in the garden. Okay, so in which case then, I easily and joyfully bend and stretch while I'm doing all of the work. Comes up the front, down the middle, up, back, over the top lip, looking into the mirror. And this one would be, I easily and joyfully use my hands and my shoulders while I'm doing the gardening. Okay, so that's central and governing. So let's just bring that back. Sinking back. Now, you're going out to balance, comes back, and up and out. And then here's your sink. Down. Okay, that felt much better for me to go up. So I know for me, a lot of times, central system isn't functioning optimally. So tracing is really, really important. Okay, so central and governing can fire everything up. But the quads are a part of the small intestine meridian. Small intestine we trace, heart comes out, small intestine goes back across to the ear. That's in the next set. So let's talk a little bit about the muscles that might not be engaged that you would need for the gardening. So the next one would be stomach. Okay, so stomach would be your pecs. So that would be how you might be pushing gardening implements out of the way. And spleen is this one. Spleen is when your arms are back behind and you're trying to get something. So if you turn around to get something, that's when latissimus dorsi would be used. And then we go heart, small intestine. So heart is responsible for this action, which you're obviously going to be doing a lot of, right? Okay, and then small intestine would be your quads, how the thigh muscle is going to be functioning. So we're going to trace under the hand, palm down, over the top, corner of, or in front of the ear. Heart goes underneath, pinky finger comes back, front of the ear. So we did stomach, spleen, heart, small intestine. Okay, so now let's go back through and see how you feel with the muscles now that you know which ones are activated by that. Okay, so now we go to bladder. Bladder is responsible for your foot being able to do this. Also, this. So in the garden, you're reaching, you're turning, and that muscle is engaged all the time. Kidney is responsible for your psoas muscle. That's how you lean forward, and it's also how you lift your leg up. So in the garden, you're not going to really be lifting your leg up so much, but you certainly are bending over and coming back up. That muscle gets a lot of use. That's on the water element. Therefore, lots of water keeps supporting that system. Also on there is circulation, which is gluteus medius on the side. Gluteus medius is responsible for the pump, the cerebrospinal pump, pumping nutrition up and down the spine, which is up to the brain. So that action is very important in the garden, not because you're going to lift your legs sideways, but because that up and down action, you want that pump engaged and providing you nutrition all the time. So that is that one. And triple warmer is teres minor. Teres minor does this. So how often do you think you might be engaging teres minor? Quite a bit. Okay, so we go bladder over the top. Again, that's your foot. The action of the foot, rising on the toe, stepping with the feet. Kidney. This is how you're going to lean forward and come back up. Then we have circulation, middle finger, triple warmer, ring finger, goes to the corner of your eyebrow. Circulation is underneath, triple warmer comes over the top. Okay, so now let's see if we've activated that. Now I know that in the past we've done three sets of these, but today I want to do a little bit more about the gardening, not so much about the Danyu, because you could practice that anytime. Now that's feeling much stronger. Awesome. Okay, so then we go to the last part, gallbladder. So gallbladder, the muscle for that one is anterior deltoid. So use that a lot in the garden, constantly actually. And then we have liver pecsternal. Pecsternal is responsible for this. So if you're doing anything that's reaching, you're doing stuff overhead, you're going in pruning in the trees, that's going to be the muscle that you're going to need. Then we get to the last two, lung and large intestine. So lung is anterior serratus, this action. Again, if you're reaching, and it could be down too, it doesn't have to be up, you're going to be using anterior serratus. Those are muscles that go all the way around the ribs, help you with breathing. And then large intestine is your fascia lata. So fascia lata, the action is leg turned in, coming across. And it's not that you're really going to do that in the garden, except I find myself turning to do things, and fascia lata is going to be engaged because you're constantly manipulating around in the garden. Okay, so let's trace those last ones. So gallbladder is at the cheekbone, in front of the ear, over the ear, down the side, and then out the toe. Then you're going to come back in for spleen, which goes down to the ribs and comes in front. Lung to thumb, so you're going out to the thumb, pointer finger, opposite nostril. If you can't remember these things, as long as you sweep down and back up, you'll get it. Okay, so here we go. Out and in. And now feel what this feels like to go back down. So you have that control to sit back down. That is much better. I hope you're noticing the same difference. So when you think about going to the garden, you could use the seated Danyus to make sure that you're ready and that you could go ahead and do it. So you could test and see how do you feel for those actions. You could trace all those meridians and see where they get activated. Where they get activated is telling you you weren't functioning as well as you could have been, and now you'll be ready to go out in the garden. Okay, so that makes a big difference. Okay, so I only did one Danyu set in each one. Usually as an exercise we do 3, but I wanted you to experience the difference. Okay, so now we have our standing Danyu, because if you're lucky and you're going to sit on a bench in the garden, that's fine, but most of us are leaning over trying to reach at things. So as we go to do that, you know that when we practice the dining, we start feet shoulder width apart. We take them to the corner, heels go out, and then it's just a little bit. Okay, when I do them to you, when you're watching these live, I try not to go too deep into the dining because I'm not there to make sure you have your knees behind your toes and that you've let your back open and it's not locked as you go down. So I can't see that. So this is your responsibility to make sure you're doing a good job of this, because I'm not going to be telling you to go do a whole bunch of deep bends into the garden if your knees are not positioned correctly. Okay, so I'm just going to turn a little bit. Hopefully that helps with the angles. Okay, so now if you take your Danyu and you go to sink down and then push up. Okay, now where does the power come from? One, you've got arms. You don't really have those in the garden. You have to use your feet. So now if you take the hands out, you don't have whole body movement, but you have push into the feet, it brings you back up. Fall down into the feet, let your back open. Push into the feet to come up, okay? And breathe, don't forget to breathe. So now you're gonna go down into the garden and you're trying to pull weeds. So when you go down, obviously you're gonna have to go deeper than that, but you're gonna make sure your knees are staying behind your toes. So you're not gonna go down this way. So if you can see how my knees have come in front of my toes, okay? What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go down so my knees stay behind my toes, and then I can come back up. Okay, so the knees are behind the toes, and then you can do whatever you need to do and come back up. All right? So that would be something to consider, so you're not just leaning over doing that and then pulling back up. Because if you do that, your lower back is going to have to clench for you to get back up out of that position. And that's when you're going to really notice your back is sore the next day. So you want to go down into the garden, sink into the garden, do what you need to do, push into the feet. And you know that when you push into the feet, the tailbone turns and drops. So it lines up with the ground, and then the spine does the lifting for you, not the muscles in your back. Okay, so hopefully that's going to help with that little part. So then I was thinking about, I was trying to get at all of the rose bushes, and I was trying to lean in and not get snagged by some thorns. So, Toyu. So if you take your feet together, turn 145, place the other foot straight forward. The Toyu in Tai Chi, we would go 2 hands forward, sink back into the other foot. 2 hands forward, sink back. So now you're in the garden and you're trying to reach in. You can do the Toyu. I took a little bit bigger step because sometimes I have to in the garden. And then I'm going to be reaching, clip, 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 push into that front foot and send yourself back to the other leg. Make sure that you keep it even. So if you do a whole bunch on one side, make sure you change feet so that you do it on the other side too. Okay, so that would be push into the foot, sink back. Push into the foot. So all kinds of things cracking and groaning. Sink back. Push into the foot, sink back. So this is great to practice, just so you know what the action is, because then you can go, reach, do what you need to do, cut the things you need to cut, push into the foot, let it send you back. Okay, so that would be that piece. Now, one of the things I learned way back at the beginning of my Tai Chi career was some writings of Mantak Chia. I think it was Mantak Chia. And it was about how to exchange energy when you're in the garden. And I had this discussion with another dancer, and she shared the technique with me, and I was like, I don't think so. That sounds kind of crazy. She said, go try it. In the garden, find a tree that you think you kind of resonate with. So it might be your favorite tree. You might not have even thought about a favorite tree. But just go out and find a tree that you could spend some time with. And maybe you're going to garden around it, but when you're finished, maybe you can do a little bit of toyus with it. So what you're going to do, just set yourself up in front of the tree, and you're just going to send that energy to the tree, and then bring it back. And send the energy out, and bring it back. Okay, now that you know I'm really totally crazy, try it. I was very surprised. I did find a tree. It was in my backyard in Cochrane, actually, which was my favorite tree. And I spent maybe 20 minutes doing toyus with the tree. And it's really amazing. You can feel the energy coming out of the ground, and you can feel the exchange start to build in your hands. So you start to notice tingling in the fingertips or in the palms, and it really just changes the way that you can connect in the garden. So might give you another way to try it. Let's change feet. So to come back together, turn the other one out, stretch. Now, if you're just new to Tai Chi, what we're doing is pushing from the back foot to the front, turning our hips so they line up straight to the front. And then when we sink back, trying to open the back and line up the knee on the back leg over the second toe. That gives us good positioning. Nice and relaxed. If you find in the garden you're starting to get a little bit sore or tight, this might be an exercise you want to do. For me, I usually find that it's too tight for me and I need to do something else first. But for you, it might be okay. And it might be great to just go do some toyus with the tree and then go back to the gardening. So you get a few of those in. Okay, perfect. Okay, so that would be the toyus and how you could use them in the garden, but also how you could take a break in the garden. Okay, so now you've been in the garden for a while and you went well past what you should have. So you know that 40%, 70% rule we talked about yesterday. You went past your 70% effort in the garden because you just wanted to finish the flower bed before you went in. So you did more than you should have. Didn't drink enough water. You come inside. Here's how your Tai Chi helps you. Number one, make sure you drink water. So you have enough water hydrating the whole system. That's going to be important. Then the second part is find one piece from Tai Chi that you can do to set everything back up again. And maybe it's the first 17. So let's do that, and let's just concentrate on how you can do that coming out of the garden. So if you're doing seated, just go ahead and sit, and I'm just going to go from commencement. So I just came in from the garden, connecting down into the feet. Nice big breath, because you may be huffing and puffing. Now right here, very gentle. You're only going to go about 40% effort, because you just finished doing a whole bunch of effort in the garden. And this, you just want this to get everything working as a whole unit, whole body movement. Left grasp bird's tail, hold the ball, step, grasp bird's tail. Now this one, you might decide to leave the hands apart rather than touching the wrist or the mind, center of the palm. And then fingertips face each other, but you don't touch. And the reason I'm saying that is that leaves them out in the biofield, and you may find that gives you a little bit of an energy boost. It's a little bit different than you're probably used to. Whip to one side, the fingers face each other, and then this is going to come around. Okay, and again we're going 40%, so nice and gentle. You just want that whole body movement, everything connected back together as one. So where you were trying to reach at things, cut things, dig, you can let all of that go and bring it back into whole body coordination. Okay, and then let that come out. Half a step, strum the pepa, sink, open the back. And the back is now letting go, which is fantastic. So if you came in from the garden, you may discover, I'm just going to move a little bit this way around my dining room table. So you may discover that it was tight when you started, And then, just turn it back. All of a sudden, it relaxes. It's like, oh, there's my back. And let go of the garden tightness. Hold the flowers, step patois, step through, and punch. Wipe the sleeve, 2 hands, and bring that back around. Toe comes around, heel comes around. Sink. Crossing over, and then let that go. Sink. Okay. So you might do that, and that just kind of links everything back up. That's one thing that I like to do. And the other one that I like to do is this foundation. Just go back to this, and then I guess you'd call it centering yourself. So go from the top of the head, down the neck. Just feel that let go. Down the shoulders, down through the main part of the body. I'm just all of a sudden letting go. Oh, there my hips are letting go. Knees, ankles, down into the feet. And then connecting to the feet. Now, if you could do this out in the grass, this would be fantastic. Because then you would have, if you have bare feet in the grass, you have that connection to the earth and the plants. And then there's a vibration that comes through. We have a lot of clover here, which is fantastic to stand in, as well as plantain. Plantain is excellent as an herb, and just to stand in amongst it is great too. Okay, and then just let that go. And that, if you remember, this is your forearm, but it can be reciprocal to your lower leg, it can be reciprocal to your core, could be reciprocal to your neck. And if you did a lot of pulling, it's a little bit tight because you had some tension, that would be important. Okay, so let's add in that tightness of the neck, because sometimes you're doing a lot of things, or you're like this and you're reaching for a long time, and you come back and the neck is really sore. You're not used to having it up and looking that way all the time. So what could you do with that? Okay, so we know about the neck stretches, which are over to one side, and then letting the opposite shoulder just completely let go and drop. You can do this seated as well. I was going to do it standing because I'm here. And then it would be up, lift, 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 and then over the other side, and just feel that stretch. And then again, you feel down the opposite shoulder. Just kind of feel that run right off down the shoulder, down the arm. Lift, 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 lift. So if you give a chance to hold each side 20, 30 seconds, that would be great. And I would do them 3 times each. Okay, then you would have, put the tongue on the roof of your mouth and lift your chin. So you're not going to drop your head back, you're actually just going to lift your chin. And again, you would have nice long neck here, and then lift the chin from there. And what you're looking for is a stretch down the front here. And then if you take that and lift that up to straight, and then from there, drop your chin towards your neck. And that's going to give you a different stretch up the back into the base of the skull. And then lift that back up. So I would do that one 3 sets. Again, about 30 seconds each one. As you hold, the longer you hold, you can feel when things start to let go. If you notice it's really clenched, then you can start to really be aware of when the release starts to happen. That's when you know you've spent enough time there. Okay, the other one would be looking over the right, and you want to make sure your eyes stay even with the floor. So you turn and you look and keep it even with the floor. Some people will actually tilt their head thinking they have turned it to the side. Okay, and then on this one, again, 30 seconds. And then bring it back. Now, nice and long and tall, and then turning to look the other way. And then holding that one. And then Now we have talked about the vagus nerve and resetting that, so you know that you can, take my glasses off, you can turn your eyes to the corner and just let that nerve reset. So and you'll have some kind of involuntary reaction. Mine is always a yawn. Could be blinking, could be a breath in, okay? And then you turn your eyes to the other corner and reset the vagus nerve on that side. And there's my yawn. And I know it reset. Now again, mine reacts very fast because I do this a lot. So you get quicker. Just in case you move your eyes to the corner and nothing happens for a little bit, just know that eventually it's quite quick to be able to fire it right up. You can also take your neck over, and that was the sideways ones we did first, but then you can turn your nose up towards the roof, and then it's going to pull all the way down the side, and that will give you a release as well, okay? And if you come up, then it would be over the other side. Hold that for about 30 seconds, and then turn your nose up towards the roof, and feel that stretch again. It's going to come like behind the ear, it's going to come along the throat, and that's the vagus nerve. That it runs through there, okay? I mean, there's other things there too, but it runs through there. So you can reset it just by using your eyes, and you can also stretch all the way around there and relax the space. Okay, so that would give you that little part. Okay, so let's go to this foundation, because this one, when you bring your arms forward, you have it opening behind the shoulders, and then this is going to come through. Thank you for the heart, I saw it. This goes out, turn the palms, rotate all the way around, that's going to pull behind, and then scoop to bring that forward. Okay, so this one, after you've been out in the garden and you've been pulling with one arm, more than the other one, because I know everybody goes to the dominant hand, you want to make sure you balance everything back out. This is a great one for creating that balance, because it just walks you through all the different positions that is required to move the arms. You may not have used them all while you were in the garden, but this will engage all of them. If you notice, when I was showing you some of the different arm positions, when we were tracing the meridians, this action actually pretty much walks you through almost all of them, which is really quite cool. Okay, and then pull and bring that back up. Okay, so you actually are firing up all the systems just by doing that little one, which is great. You also know that one is also good for lungs and heart, so improving circulation, improving the breathing, getting the lymph flow through the chest. So those are all good things, especially if you were doing concentrated small work or you squeezed. So being able to let that expand and relax. Okay, those are my tips for if you're in the garden. Connect into your feet, walk on the ground. Don't walk above the ground, try to walk through the ground. And you could play with your Tai Chi walks, which we did one of the other days. I won't spend much time on them today. Just turn so you can see my feet. So it's walking, pushing through the toes, which I'm not sure you want to really do while you're out in the garden, but sometimes the feet, they've been over top of roots and stuff in the garden, and you're on weird shapes and angles, and you find that your calf gets a little bit tighter, your ankle, your foot. Today my husband was stepping on the same stem on the ground, and by the time he was done, his foot was really sore from stepping on that same stem piece each time he went to get at something. So then you can go back and you can just start to work with the feet, move them around, get them connected. You could use your hands. So we've done all of these exercises. We've done these ones, right? So we have flat, how we played with those. All of those can be sent down to the feet, change the way the feet function. Okay, so let's go to low cut now, and let's play with the last little piece that we were doing, which had all the turns in it. So if you're new to Tai Chi and you're jumping in here, this can be really disorienting, but it's a great way to learn how to get your balance right and how to use balance coming through the tops of the tiptoes, as well as how to spin on your heel, which you're not really going to do in a garden, but it does help you to learn about sinking and also about pushing, so through the feet. So it's got some great actions. So I'm going to review what we've done the last couple of days, and now you're thinking about how you're manipulating down and up. Okay, so a little bit different focus than we've used. So the right foot comes out. I'm just going to go right back to a couple days ago. So the right hand comes out, and then this sinks back, and then you would turn towards the back. I'm turning towards you because of the way I set myself up. So as I do that, I'm pushing, and my weight is now on my right foot, so I can step open. Then there's a sink. Now, here's where the knees are going to stay behind the toes, as we talked about for the garden. Comes up, open the hands, sink, and then you're going to open left foot, and then step to the back left corner, hold the flower, step straight to the back, push down. It would be straight to the front, actually, sorry, I'm away from you. And then this goes to your brow. Turn to the left with your right toe, cross the hands, roll the fingers towards you, make a cone, and then push out, one-legged donyu. Put the foot down, turn and open the hip, up on the toe, and then push out to the right side with your right hand. Okay, we did that. Then we have pigeon toe, pakwa, pigeon toe. And now you're facing, would be to the back. I'm facing to you. Okay, cross the hands, just move closer, so not in the dining room table. Push out, so one-legged donyu on your right, heel goes down, open, step, so you're facing that right side again, and you go sink, drop. There's your balance, and now what you're going to do is you're going to stay down, and you're going to spin on your right foot, and reach. Okay, so when you go to do that spin, what we talked about last day was don't go up and try to pull up to come around. You're actually going to sink down, push down into the floor, and push out of the floor. And that's how you come around. And if that's not a good thing for you to be doing, put the left foot back, spin the right toe around by spinning on the heel, and then it would be step and the hands come out. Okay. Now, the reason I'm doing these little pieces is in the garden. You are walking over tops of things. You're standing on funny ledges, rocks, twigs, whatever. And how you work through your foot is important. So put your weight down into your foot, push out of your foot. How are you going to do that action? Yesterday, we concentrated on the 70% in the front, 30% in the back. So let's apply it into here. Not that we have to think about the garden, but we're learning about how to move that will help us in the garden. Okay, so I'm going to repeat all of that again. So I push out with the right, open the back. Sink down into that right foot, 70%, and the back opens. Sink back into the left foot. Turn the right toe, so all your weight is on the left foot. Step onto the right foot. Open with the left. Sink. Open the spine. Up. Rolls through. Comes down. Okay, hopefully you're all keeping up with me here. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to open the left toe. This is going to come around. Hold the flowers, which is away from, looking at me, sink and drop open the back, step with the left foot and push your right hand down. Hello, Hunter, I see you on the other side of the door. Okay, this goes to the brow. This is going to cross and you're turning to your right side, facing to the right from your front. This goes, fold the fingers in, make a cone, and then push the palms open and expand into that snake. heel comes down, and you're going to go around, up on your toes, and push your right hand forward. Okay, step, pigeon-toed, patois, pigeon-toed, and now you're facing back towards this direction. Would be kind of a front. Okay, goes up, hold the flowers, you're going to drop the spine, so you're standing on that right leg, one-legged down you. We use that a lot in the garden. One-legged down you, pushing out into that snake. Put the heel down, you're going to turn and push. Step, sink, drop, and then down in that position, push yourself around. I had to do it on my toe because I had a chair there. And push out. Okay, sorry, went to turn around and I saw the chair. I realized I didn't have enough room. Okay, so I hope I'm just reviewing that little piece. That's going to give you a hand. All right, here comes my cat again. All right, from there, how are we doing? From there, I just want you to finish with, if you come back in from the garden and you're exhausted, you did go beyond what you should have, don't have a lot of energy left to do some Tai Chi. So, hello Hunter. So the piece that really is going to give you a nice boost, and you've probably been doing it already, crossing one foot over, cross one hand over, link the fingers, and hang out. So if you go into the garden chair, hi, hello. If you go into the garden chair and you just lay back in the lounger, do a cook's hookup at the same time, and let the figure 8 pattern re-energize you. Hi, sweetheart. Hi. And then you take your feet side by side, bring your fingertips together. Hey, do I have a companion today? Hi. Oh, you guys could hear him purring. Yeah, I hear you. You? Okay, so that's it for today. I hope I gave you some good ideas for the garden. Thank you for hanging in there. Thanks for doing all those wicked turns with me. And I'm glad I had my little buddies in here today. So that was good. All right. Have a great rest of your Saturday. And I will see you tomorrow. And be well. So Alina, thank you for being here. And Jeanette, hopefully you were out in the garden. Irene, I'm glad you're here. This one hopefully is going to help you should you guys ever get out of snow. And Charlotte, I'm still looking forward to when you get down this direction. Okay, those are the people that I can see on my list at the moment. And thank you for being here. See ya.